We are back. Here we are, God Sparks. So today we're here with Damian. So, Damian, what are we talking about today?
I don't know. What about me?
So, Damian, were you always Catholic?
Yes.
Were you always acting as a Catholic?
Mm, no.
Okay, would you like to explain what happened and when you became more serious about your faith?
Yes. Okay, so I moved. I'm Polish, and I was born and raised Catholic. So it's in our culture. So we go to church every Sunday. That's what everyone does. We don't necessarily know why, but we do it. Like we know there's like a fear of God that we're supposed to be follow the rules, but I don't think there's like a any deeper relationship between any person and God. So and almost 11 years ago, I moved to USA. Mm, so USA, I didn't expect finding the deeper faith here. Honestly, maybe you know why, but I end up in Chicago, a big city. For first 6.5, 7 years, I did not really have any Catholic friends. I would go to Sunday mass, basics, but no, again, no relationship. And still living the life that was not according to the Catholic Church teaching. I wouldn't follow the old rules. It was like, living my life, serving two gods kind of thing, where I'm trying to, I'm trying, but it's like, but there's things that I still cannot be attached from. So it was really like, on and off trying to be religious, but not necessarily like I should be like a Catholic man. And 2020, 2021, I think it was like 2020 winter. There was like first shutdown. We all remember this year. First shutdown, churches are closed and reopening. And I remember listening to the different like YouTube channels in Poland, Polish YouTube channels, and some of them they kind of mention Latin mass. I was like, it's interesting. I have no idea what it is, but I just know that there used to be mass in Latin, right? So it was I kind of like it gets my interest, and I remember exactly like typing in Google Latin mass in Chicago, and the first thing that popped up was St. John Cantus in Chicago, and I was like, I gotta check it out. I was curious. I wanted like some little bit more. So I remember I walked into the church and it's gorgeous. This is a church that was called once one year the most beautiful church in USA. So I was lucky to be there, and I looked at the Stations of the Cross, and they sign in Polish, so it was really cool. It's like Polish language. So I see the roots. The church was built by first Polish immigrants, and I remember the main altar, the art piece there, it looked very familiar, and it was the Saint John Cantus, but behind him was uh, Mariacki Church in Krakow. So, and I was like, I didn't know back then, but was like, that looks so familiar. I know this place. And then I learned that it was, in Krakow. So it was like so excited. Then there's the Marian copy of the Lady of Częstochowa in the left altar. So I was like, I felt like a home, basically. And I remember exactly that they were putting together back the young adult group, Peter and Paul, which is still going on. Father Kevin, it was run by Brother Kevin, now Father Kevin. So I really recommend it to anyone in Chicago. And I remember the group was not running yet, but they had announcement on the website that they're gonna like restart basically. So I signed up, I sent the email. I remember, I think the brother Kevin respond to me. It's like, oh, we starting again, everything. Like awesome. I just waited. And I remember I went to the first meeting. It was very, and then I started building this. I found a community. I think it was like the most important thing in my life back in the day. That like, oh, I am in a good place. I felt like I'm in a really good place. I really like the all the priests there, and now I have this awesome community, young people who are like on fire with faith. So okay, there is something there. So I was very excited about it, and that's where I met you. So that was awesome. I met my other friends, Andrea, Sarah, Thomas, Marisela, Ali. This my best friends are from this group, from this church. So I really appreciate it, and I think it was life changing. But then what happened? I After maybe like 2 3 months, remember going to the general confession because something was like, I was living like double life, right? And I was like, my soul was ripped apart. I knew I need to change something. I couldn't live with myself anymore. So I needed the change. So I remember I decided to go to the general confession.
Can you just explain to us what a general confession is?
General confession is basically going through your entire life and really like going very, very deep and thinking, okay, what did I actually hide? Maybe I hide something from the confession. All right. I didn't know how to say it. I forget about it. Like there's so many, but it's basically like your entire life. You bring it to the front, you're leaving it there. And I remember my confession, it was like face to face. I'm in the St. John Kench's office, parish office building, sitting with one of the priests there and face to face. And I'm like broken. Like I'm broken. I'm just falling apart. But it was the best thing because there's no other way to rebuild yourself. If God doesn't crush you, that's the only way to build up what you're supposed to be. So he builded me up from dust, basically dust. And so that was like a changing point in my life. And since then, I would say it basically goes up, but my path straightened up. Like I still fall and sin and everything, but I exactly know where I'm going now. And I exactly know what rules, lack of better word, basically, that I know what rules I supposed to follow, and I know that my trajectory is going, straight. So there are still little turns, but I go back on my path. So I think that really helped me, and then all friends keeping me, holy, or at least starving for holiness. So we constantly trying to inspire ourselves. How I feel about my friends. So that really helps. But that was changing point. That was changing point, and now I'm basically completely different man.
Hmm. So it sounds like community is very important to you, that lack of community was detrimental to your spiritual life, but now having a community is helping you stay on track. How do you cultivate and deepen those friendships, and how do you find friends that actually help you to heaven?
Definitely, like community. I think it's one of the most important things in your life and in your faith life. And now, I met a lot of people, the young adult group in St. John Kenches, and some of them just, I know them, but there was no deeper relationship. So I think also this friendship is something that has to click. There has to be like some chemistry that you really like speak the same language. You have something to talk about. If you really have like all those small values and everything just aligns. And now, sometimes I just pick up the phone and, text them, call them. Like I have to do my work too to nurture those friendships because it's a, both way street. They reach out to me, I reach out to them, but we push ourselves to higher standards. So it's constantly keeping me on my toes. If I did something, not right, or like a little, if they would call me, they
Do
would,
you have an example of a time that someone called you out or that maybe you had to call someone else out?
yeah. I mean, when I use the word that I shouldn't be using around the ladies, my friends would definitely tell me that, and I appreciate it. I really appreciate it because there's no other way. For me, maybe back then it was like it's just a word, right? It's not even like it wasn't an F word, but it was that some small word that like, but maybe I can increase my standards, maybe can get a little better. And that's what striving for holiness is. Those small steps going up instead of, down, or even like staying on the same place. No, that gets you back. You have to like slowly improve and build your relationship with God. So I think that was like a key element. And then overall, the St. John Cantus, great place. I consider all priests there very holy men, and it was inspiring to me. The beauty of the St. John Cantus and the beauty of the real faith there really helped me.
Mm. How would you say that faith has helped you grow as a man?
I think my one of the best books is The Imitation of Christ. And Lord Jesus Christ was basically the perfect human being. He was the perfect man, who became man. And my relationship with God helps me to imitate Christ. And that helps me to become man, leader, friend, better friend. In future, I hope for like being better husband, being better boyfriend, husband, father. But it all goes to building relationship with God first, and then imitating Christ, because he was just perfect. There's no better example than him. So if I can just follow him and be inspired by him, it's I have to just become as him, and that's all I need to do. And that will make me man I supposed to be here on earth.
Mm. What advice would you give to anyone who's watching who is maybe living a Catholic life out of habit like you were? What would you say to them?
I think I would definitely look for holy friends that will slowly change you. Slowly, like you will get inspired. Maybe will call you out. There will be something that will force you to work on yourself constantly, because you're hanging out. It's like, there's this saying, if you're at the room of, five people, you're six, right? Like you become like those five people. So if I am hanging out with five saints, I'm the sixth, right? So that's what I want. But if you're hanging out with five bad people, you're six, so you're becoming bad person too. So definitely that will help you. And then everything will come out of it, because you will see like, oh, I have to improve my prayer life. I have to maybe go to daily mass. You will see what they doing, and you start like imitating them. So if they rooted in Christ, it just will become together.
Mm.
Do it, and your life will slowly start changing. And don't look like for those like big fireworks. No, it's usually that's not how it works, that we like suddenly experience miracle, and all my problems are fixed. No, you still have to face the problems. You have to go through it, but surrender them to God and get inspired by the friendships you have to nurture.
It's beautiful because iron sharpens iron.
Exactly, exactly.
So thank you, Damien, for sharing with us. Thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe, and watch out for some more faith-filled content. Bye.